iVerbalize is
Hello.
joining us this week. And we also do have Karen. Hello, Karen.
Hello, hi, I'm in the background.
She's in
Making
the
sure
background.
everybody's
She can. She's juggling all the tech. We've had a morning this morning. But welcome to this week's small business chat. And as I said, we do have a guest with us. This week's topic is about finding your voice, and especially in 2020, we have seen such noise that's been, sort of taking place. But then also, how do we step up? How do we, as business owners, step up, position ourselves, promote ourselves? But also, there's also been some key issues that I think have been real passion points and triggers for us, so that how do we show our leadership in that time as well? So as I said, welcome. We've got Ronke Kokoruwe. I've said that correctly, haven't I?
You have, well done.
From iVerbalize. And we just are so excited to have you, because obviously it's so important for us to step up. And from a PR perspective, why I thought it was quite relevant is because I've noticed that we can only do so much in terms of training, getting your message clear, making sure that you're practicing it, communicating it, putting it on your platforms and including it into your comms. But there's something different, isn't there, when the spotlight hits you and you're being asked to be like, maybe have an interview, and also maybe you've got a speaking opportunity. Nowadays you're on a podcast or on a live.
Yes.
So again, how do we give you that confidence, that clarity in your speaking abilities to communicate and really make your point with impact? And so Ronke, welcome. So lovely to have you. Let's hear a little bit about you as a business owner. We're all business owners here. Tell us a little bit about your business and your mission.
Okay, thanks for having me, Crystal and Karen. It is absolutely fabulous to be here. So I run iVerbalize, which is all around public speaking, presentation skills, anything to do with using the power of your spoken words, because to have a voice is such a gift, and to be able to use it as an incredible tool, especially as Crystal, you mentioned today, is really invaluable. So I've been running iVerbalize now for goodness about 3 years. We started off working with little people, with children, and really providing platforms for them to be able to speak up and be celebrated and be applauded and to receive feedback. And that work was great. And that's something that's on the shelf at the moment, but it's some work that we definitely will continue to do long term. My focus at the moment now is on women business owners, women who have the most amazing ideas, have the most incredible thoughts, the answers to the questions, but who remain silent, who choose to not use their voices because of fear of judgment, fear of being thought of as aggressive or pushy, all of these different fears and anxieties that hold us back. So my mission is to equip, empower, and really encourage women to speak up with courage, with clarity of mind, clarity of voice, and also with confidence, and especially to speak up in a way that's aligned with their own values. Speak up. I know we use the word authenticity a lot, but it's true, really speaking up in a way that is yourself. I always say to people, I love Michelle Obama. I think she's amazing. I hear her speak and she inspires me, but I don't want to be Michelle. I want to be the very best Ronke that I can be. And so my mission is to help women to step into that space.
Oh, that's amazing. That's so empowering and inspiring. I don't know about you, Karen, but I definitely, I'm listening at that. And I know that anyone else is sort of also listening at that thinking, oh my God, yeah. What I find, two things that from knowing you, and also, as women, we've been very quiet for so long, because again, you also work with women in the corporate sector, and I remember one of the things that I remembered was particularly male dominated sectors, where women might not feel or be given the opportunity to step up or be heard, or actually if they are heard, how are they being listened to, like actually listening to what that person is saying. And I find that one of the key factors of how you work is on that mental training of, you know, because again, we could have our values, our mission, our purpose. We feel quite inspired and revved up, and yet we're about to go live, or something might sort of factor in why we won't press that live button, or why we won't do that podcast, or why we won't be writing that blog. It's just showing up the way that we should be showing up. And so what I particularly love is that you deal with that mental training, as you were saying, as you describe it. So can you talk a little bit more about that, and really how important it is to overcome that, and how we might recognize it? Because I think for us, we might not even be aware that's what's holding us back.
Sure. Yes, so I think the very first thing is to actually recognize and acknowledge that we're all in this together, right? You know, we are all in this battle, in this, it's a journey, it's an adventure of just recognizing what's going on in here. And it's what I said at the onset. So many people have the most incredible ideas and thoughts, but they never come to the fore because they have already told themselves a story about why they shouldn't speak up, or about why their voices don't matter. And so the work that I do around mental fitness is really helping us to recognize how much time is spent in our minds, either serving us or sabotaging us. And so it's recognizing those voices, whether it's the voice of your judge that says, and who do you think you are to be speaking on a podcast? And oh, little Miss Avoider who says, oh gosh, I can't face up to it. Or, you know, little Miss Restless, who before you've even formulated a thought, you've moved on to another thing. And it's incredible work that I've been doing through partnering with an organization called Positive Intelligence. And that really provides an incredible framework to help us to acknowledge and identify these voices and these saboteurs, really, so that we learn how to shift from that place of sabotage to a place of sage mode, where we are being served and using those fears, using those anxieties to enable us to step into a different realm. We're all in it. It's just recognizing it and finding a way, finding methods and techniques to enable you to make that shift.
That's amazing. And it's so true. We do have that little voice that even if we start, half the battle is consistency as well. So you don't just do one appearance. You have to book in a series, you know, for people to be able to know and like and trust you and recognize you and hear your message over and over again. Because we feel like, well, I've already done that bit. I've spoken up once. The point is that we have to speak over and over again, and maybe we might be really critical on ourselves once we've done it once. We might have said, yes, finally did it. And like you say, hearing that perfectionism come through, or perhaps being unkind to ourselves even.
Absolutely.
And just making sure that we're respecting sort of the message and the values of what we're trying to achieve, and getting it out there, I think is super important.
And each time you step out and do it, Crystal, that's the thing. Each time you do it, you get stronger. So it's that recognition that I've done it. Hooray, fantastic. And I really think we should celebrate ourselves, because again, that's an area that so many people don't take the time, you know, as you said, to be kind to ourselves, but to celebrate the fact that you've done it, and then know that your muscles have become stronger. So you've got enough fuel to enable you to show up better the next time. And if you fail the next time anyway, who cares? You just keep going. So it's that ability to just keep showing up, as you said.
Now, we've seen the importance of storytelling and how that is so crucial to connect with your audience. And I think we're really seeing the value in crafting, identifying, owning and crafting our own stories. Whether it's your personal story or your professional story, or if it's an issue that you see that how an issue that's affecting you either in your career, your industry, your community. Again, these are all really important factors to how we stand up and how we show up. So can you explain how you would work with someone to help them understand that story and really communicate it in the best possible way, so they show up as their best possible selves?
Sure. Yeah, so we each have a story, right? Each of us has a really unique story. And I often compare it to, you know, the sound of a piano. I have three children and they play different instruments. The sound of the piano is very different to the sound of the saxophone or the violin. They're all beautiful in their own right, but they're all very unique. And so each of us has our own unique story. The fact that I've heard the piano doesn't mean I don't want to hear the sound of the violin. And so oftentimes we can say, but my story doesn't really matter. But it's that appreciation that your story does matter, because there's one other person, at least one other person on this planet who is actually waiting to hear your story. And so I remember for myself earlier on in the year, with everything going on with lockdown, and there was the whole Black Lives Matter issue that arose, and that was really challenging. And I could hear voices on LinkedIn and even in my own family. And I remember my son saying to me, Mum, you should speak up. You've got a platform. You've got to speak up about this. And I remember the fear that gripped me, because I wasn't quite sure what it was that I was feeling. What was my story, my message in the midst of all of this? Because I knew it was different from everybody else's, because we each have our unique story, right? And I remember just coming to a point where it became really clear to me that I wanted to speak from a place of intention and not for attention. And that was game changing, because it really enabled me to think about what message is it I'm trying to put across. And as a result of that, and through conversations with different people, especially on LinkedIn, I I organized an event called Finding Your Voice in the Midst of the Mayhem. And, you know, we had over 20 women turn up and it was incredible. I mean, one of the women sent me some feedback and she just said it was so transformational for her. And the very next day, there was a situation that she was in where she just remembered that thought of speak up with intention. Speak, even if you feel afraid. Speak, even where you feel like your voice is not being heard. Because even if you change nothing, my voice alone isn't going to change all of the issues that exist. But you know that you've changed, right? So by you just stepping out into that courageous space, you change. And so it's just that appreciation that each of us has a crucial story to tell. And when we all bring our stories together, what an incredible sound. I mean, think of an orchestra. What an incredible sound we begin to hear. But I think it always goes back to that mental fitness, Crystal. It's that willingness or that courage to even get started. One of my most favorite quotes, and I use it so often, is one by Zig Ziglar, which says, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. And that absolutely counts when you're telling your story. You've just got to get started. I don't know if that answered your question, but
to be honest, you're just speaking. I am just absorbing. Again, the power of communicating, and that just seeing that that wonderful phrase that you just said about communicating with intention and not attention, but intention, not attention. And actually, that's something that really hits a nerve for many people that I work with, in the sense that there's been so much noise, and probably they feel that they need to retreat because they're almost in awe of it, or perhaps they feel quite I would honestly say it's that fear factor of, oh my God, I'm never going to be that good. And you just don't know what goes on behind closed doors. Everyone's got that shakiness when they're starting, or that doubt behind it. And so I think we're putting people on a pedestal based on followers and likes, superficiality, when actually it's just the very basic lines of your truth that really, really packs that powerful punch. And that's why it really is important that you get your stories out there. And also with intention as opposed to attention. We're in an age where it seems that the only way to get your message out is to post 15 times a day. That's not true, first of all. It doesn't have to be like that, because I think the importance of what you're saying, and for us, I like to call Karen and I like more, we like that slow paced marketing style. in the sense that, you know, build it steadily and slowly as well. You know, I can see where you do need speed, actually, absolutely, but that intention and that thoughtfulness means that that article that you could be writing would be so much more powerful, because it was considered, it was much more thoughtful, well researched, but also you're bringing elements of yourself in, and that takes time to be vulnerable. Craft that takes time. Therefore, when you're putting it out there and you're sharing it, it will have far more impact than 15 other posts that you're trying to get out there very quickly. And really, again, when you've had speaking opportunities, ask them what it is that you'll be talking about. Is it in line with your messaging and your values, or what is important to you? Just because it's a speaking opportunity doesn't mean that you rush on that platform. And so going back to what you had also said about the importance of being yourself, showing up authentically, the importance of those values, your story. I really like Simon Sinek, as everyone else knows. You know, I that was, to me, was my game changer mentor, virtual mentor, as it were. And he when he talks about finding your why, a lot of people get confused over what the why is. A lot of people say, well, my why is working with, you know, making sure that my life is I have more freedom to spend time with my kids. That's not your why. Your why is a core rooted deep belief you actually have formulated because of your experience by the time you're in your 20s. By the time you've hit that point, you've pretty much found what your North Star would be, and the compass that drives you. You just haven't really discovered it or peeled it away to make it that really unique statement. And so a lot of people spend time, you know, thinking what their why is, but actually what it is, where that passion comes from, to help you really rise up and help others. And I think once you've found that why, and then your own, I like to call it the brand hero journey.
Yes, that's
you are your own brand hero, or, you know, especially if you're a business owner. You've had this particular journey to help you work the way that you do, you know, support the people that you support. There are your own experiences that will craft that entire story, that cycle that you're able to talk about. And that is unique, coupled with your why. Like, everyone else can have a very similar why, and that's what connects us, but the journey that got us there is quite different. So it's owning the two, and then speaking it up, but then also finding those opportunities and those platforms. And like you say, your experience of why it was important for you to act in the way that you did when the Black Lives Matter conversation came up again, because it's not going away.
That's right.
Inclusion is not going away.
That's right.
We all have different stories as to how that, you know, inclusion to me, I mean, again, and you will have your own experience, which is why you're driven in a certain way that's led you to making sure that you're going to help other women in the way that you did. This is just so fascinating. If you have questions, I know that a lot of people catch this on the replay as well. So if you have questions, please post them in. I don't know, Karen, if you can see any whilst you're behind the scenes, let us know. But I would say that please do pop them in. We're going to share Ronke's link, because I think that it's truly wonderful work that you're doing. I am always in awe whenever I meet people doing what you're doing, because there's only so much that we can do to help business owners, and sometimes you might feel if it's holding you back that you might need that specialist help. What was it, if somebody had to wanted to work with you, like, what is the thing that you'd want them to be, how would you like them to prepare themselves to work with you?
Wow, prepare themselves.
Because it's
to come,
isn't it?
Say that again, sorry.
I would say to choose to work with you, they need that commitment. It's not as if you can wave a magic wand.
Absolutely.
Internal work.
Yes.
Actually, sure. And sometimes it might get messy.
Indeed. I love that you just said that, Christelle, because that is probably the thing that I love to highlight the most. I'm delighted to work with the mess, because we're all messy. And I think when we just acknowledge that, you know what, my mess is different to your mess, but we're all messy anyway, then we're able to not take ourselves too seriously. And again, that's something else that holds us back. And so it's giving ourselves permission to be playful on this adventure, to be committed to showing up, to be committed to trying and failing, but continuing to try. And ultimately, I smiled when you said to prepare yourself, because I was thinking the best preparation you can give yourself when you come into this sort of work with me is to come as you are. It really is to come really desiring to bring out the very best version of you. I can fall into the trap of comparing myself. Oh, how did this person show up and that person? What are they doing on this platform and that platform? And now that I've been able to silence all of those voices, or at least I'm on a really strong journey of doing so, and recognizing where my voice matters the most and where I'm seeking to place the most value and to place most of my energy, I just find that it transforms everything. And so coming as you are, being willing to have a laugh. I love to laugh. Laughter is good for my soul. And to be playful and messy on this journey, but know that there's where you are committed to getting to the other side of it, and you keep showing up, you keep building those muscles, those mental fitness muscles, then it really does transform everything for you.
I love that mental fitness analogy. I absolutely love it, because it's something you have to keep working on.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's the only way. It's the only way. I mean, how many times have you been to an event and you've walked away and you've thought, yes, I've transformed completely. And then 3 weeks later, you think, what was it I was supposed to be focusing on? And this is just a daily commitment. It's a daily commitment to yourself to keep growing. And when that doesn't go well, it's that thing of resilience, of getting back into the ring and knowing that it's worth it. You're worth it. What you have to share, the story that you need to bring to the table, is worth being heard and shared. So it really is celebrating that.
And I have really loved what you were saying about the collective, especially for the bigger issues. I'm seeing it a lot recently in terms of women's health, for example, and there's a lot of gaslighting around women's health, and we're not getting the treatment that we should be getting. And there's no way that one person could be making that change, not one at all. And you see some of the biggest breakthroughs are women coming together, sharing their horrific stories in order to instigate change. And that's where the power lies. And I honestly, I've honestly thoroughly enjoyed this chat. I could listen to you like all day. In fact, that's the whole point. We've introduced you to her. Please go follow her and share your wisdom always. But also, I feel that it speaks to so many of us. And I think now, especially in 2021 coming up, we've had a corker of it. I mean, seriously, what a blinder of a year. That's really, if anything, we're still here. We'll celebrate that. We're moving forward. Like, we're going to take the lessons that we've learned. We've seen how we're stepping up. We've still got work to do. We've still got to help others to make that, to repair it. So absolutely, this is the time. Thank you so much if you've joined us again. Put the questions any in the replay. Karen, I don't know if you can hear us. I was just going to say, if there's anything there, just let us know.
Yeah, there's a few people who've commented in there on both of them. So just kind of saying agreeing with you. One of the comments was, yes, bullied down when I fought back, always felt bad after, wish I could go back. Also, felt an element of guilt when in male-dominated meetings. Oh, she's so aggressive just for standing my ground, and not my guilt to feel, I know. And I think one of my things I just loved what you said was love that you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. I think that's my biggest takeaway from this. Brilliant.
Oh, really amazing. Right. Thank you so much. Thanks again for joining. We've got next week's Small Business Chat. It's our last one of the year. Can you believe it?
Oh my goodness, is it?
It will be the last one of this year that we've done. Oh my God. So it's been crazy. I think so. I'm pretty sure it is. Karen will tell me, no, we've got another 3 on.
No, I think next week's is the last. I thought you meant this week is the last. No,
no, next week. Yeah. So yes, I'll forgive you. Yeah, you might want to add some bubbles in your cup if you bring your cuppa, your Christmas jumpers. Come along. But thank you so much, Ronke. Again, it's been an absolute pleasure. Of just so many gold gems there. So thank you so much. And so, guys, we'll see you later. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you. It's been incredible
Bye.
joy. Thank you. Bye.